The moment Elena opened her eyes, she realized she was breathing borrowed time. The hospital room felt too quiet, too still, and the man standing over her, her own husband, wore a smile that didn't belong to a loving partner. It belonged to someone who had already decided her fate. But what Elena didn't know was that someone else was also watching. Someone who refused to let injustice win. The betrayal. Elena and Adrian had once been the couple everyone envied. Adrian was a self-made millionaire, polished and charming in public, generous to charities, and praised by magazines as husband of the year. Behind closed doors, the truth was far darker. Elena, pregnant with their first child, had begun noticing the cracks. Adrian came home late, reeking of perfume. He guarded his phone like it held the world's secrets. He dismissed her questions, mocked her tears, and created distances she could no longer cross. Still, she tried for their baby. One night, while setting the table for dinner, Elena collapsed. Sharp pain tore through her side. She was rushed to the hospital, barely conscious. The doctors called it severe stress-induced complications. Adrian called it a perfect opportunity. The dark intention. In the dim hospital room, Adrian pulled a pillow from behind Elena. His breathing was calm, too calm for a man who claimed to be worried. "You always ruin everything," he whispered. "If you'd just disappear, I could finally live my life." Elena's weak body froze. She could barely lift her hands, let alone fight. But fate had placed someone in that room for a reason. Dr. Samuel Hale, a quiet surgeon in his mid-50s, had seen too many accidents involving wealthy spouses who thought money meant immunity. He had suspected Adrian's behavior all day, how the man had repeatedly insisted on being alone with Elena, how impatient and irritated he seemed whenever the staff checked on her. So he had taken a precaution. He had turned on the small body camera clipped inside his coat, one he used for training and documentation. Now, standing just outside the room under the guise of reviewing charts, he witnessed everything through the glass window. He didn't wait for permission. He didn't think twice. He stormed in. "The rescue. Step away from her, drive," Hale said sharply. Adrian froze mid-motion, the pillow still in his hands. The doctor's voice carried a quiet fury. "What exactly were you doing with that?" Adrian tried to act offended. She was uncomfortable. "I was adjusting. I recorded everything, drive." Hale interrupted. Adrian's face drained of color. The doctor immediately called security while Elena lay trembling, tears flooding her pillow. Nurses rushed in as the guards restrained Adrian, who went from polished millionaire to panicked criminal in seconds. But even as he was dragged out, he hissed at Elena. "You'll regret this. Both of you." She clutched her stomach protectively. Not anymore, she thought. Healing and truth. In the following days, Elena learned everything she had been too afraid to uncover. Adrian had been planning to divorce her, after securing a larger share of their combined assets. Her pregnancy threatened his plans, especially with another woman waiting in the shadows, one who already envisioned her life as Mrs. Adrian Cole. The attempt on Elena's life had been the final step in his scheme. Dr. Hale visited her daily. He spoke gently, always asking before entering, treating her not just as a patient but as someone who deserved dignity. "You saved my life," Elena whispered one afternoon. He shook his head. "You saved yourself by surviving long enough to be found. I just did what any decent human should do." But Elena noticed the tiredness in his eyes, the moral exhaustion of someone who had seen too much suffering ignored. The courtroom showdown. Adrian's lawyer tried everything. Claimed the video was misleading. Claimed Adrian was emotionally distressed. Claimed Elena exaggerated. But the recording was crystal clear. And so was the testimony from Dr. Hale, the nurses, and even hospital security. When the verdict came, guilty on all charges, the room fell silent. Adrian glared at Elena as if she had destroyed his world, when all she had done was fight to survive. She gently rested her hand on her stomach. It wasn't destruction. It was rebirth. A new beginning. Months later, Elena gave birth to a healthy baby girl. She named her Hope, because that was what kept her alive even when she couldn't fight. Dr. Hale attended the birth, not officially, but as someone who had become like family. "You're stronger than you think," he told her quietly. Elena smiled. "No. I just finally stopped being afraid." She bought a small home near the coast, started an online business, and slowly rebuilt her confidence. The trauma didn't vanish overnight, but she faced it with the same courage she used to survive. And Hope grew up hearing not just the pain of her past, but the resilience that came after. The message that changed lives. Years later, Elena shared her story on a support forum, one dedicated to helping women escape emotionally abusive relationships. Her words went viral. When someone tries to silence your breath, speak louder. When someone tries to take your life, choose to live so boldly that they can't touch you again. You are not weak. You are not alone. And you are worth surviving for. Messages poured in. Women thanked her. Survivors found strength. Doctors praised the courage of Dr. Hale. And Elena realized something life-changing. Her suffering had not been the end. It had been the start of a purpose. Final inspiring note. Elena's story wasn't about a millionaire's cruelty. It was about her refusal to let darkness win. It was about the power of one person, just one, to step in and make a difference. And above all, it was about the strength hidden in every heart. The strength to survive. The strength to rebuild. The strength to rise.